Well, hello, folks, and welcome to Troy, Montana on January 7th, 2017. This is our Project Healthy Wealth's first quarter Super Saturday training. The whole idea is to position you into a spot where you know for the rest of the year that if you do exactly what we're sharing with you here, you will see some fundamental practices that will allow you to enjoy the income streams that most people don't. What I'm going to do is I'm going to show you where business practice that's done properly and honor with serving people the way Jesus, the most followed leader on the planet, taught. When you follow those certain principles, it doesn't matter where you come from. Doesn't matter what your background is. Doesn't matter what your experience is. There's certain principles in life. When you understand how to fundamentally apply them to serve others first, there's a lot of things that can come full circle in your life that most people will never experience. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to break this training down real simple. We're going to show you exactly where I got the information from the most followed leader on the entire planet in all of its history. So whether you believe in Jesus Christ or not, please recognize I'm just the messenger. The facts are what they are. The truth is what it is. And understand when you know the power of the truth and you live by it, it'll always set you free. Okay? So let's get started. Okay, the first thing we want to take a look at when it comes to becoming successful as an entrepreneur is we need to look at, no matter what, the bottom line is the people that we serve. You want to become successful in your life? The whole idea to making that happen is to first help other people become successful. How do you do that? You understand the universal laws that have been taught since the beginning of time, even taught by Jesus Christ himself. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you the fundamentals based on what Jesus taught, not what the world has to say. And I think you'll be quite shocked at how simple it is for you to unlock your door this year and accomplish the goals you have in entrepreneurship, or maybe it's ministry work. Because really, it's all about planting the seeds. We're going to understand that fully. The first thing we look at is Matthew chapter 7, verse 14. What did Jesus say? He said, because narrow is the gate and difficult is the way which leads to life, and there are few who find it. So I want you to think about this as an entrepreneur. 92% of all startup companies go out of business in the first 6 months' time. That's a huge failure rate, isn't it? And what is it that they do to attract people to them that they all have in common? They promise something for nothing. Now, in the real world, if you plant a seed, does it guarantee a harvest? It really doesn't. We can look at Mark chapter 4, verses 1 through 20, and understand how Jesus explains the law of sowing and reaping. And what is it that's extremely crucial for us to grab as a fundamental practice as an entrepreneur with a passion to make a difference? It's really simple. There are 5 seeds planted. 4 of them in the end of the story do not produce, and 1 does. And what is our mission? What is our purpose? To repeat the process. Plant 5 seeds, let 1 produce, and repeat the process. Some 60, some 100. Some 30, some 60, some 100-fold, okay? So you want to understand, can you shortcut seed planting? Can't do it. So I want you to think about that. So what are we taught? Difficult is the way which leads to life, and there are few who find it. difficult and simple have a lot in common, because simple is not always easy. But it's easy to find an excuse not to do something because you're controlled by fear instead of driven by faith. Now, when Peter jumped out of the boat, started walking on water with his eyes on Jesus, and his eyes were on the mission, not the problems on the journey, and he took his eyes off the mission and put them on the problem of the journey, which was, I shouldn't be walking on water, and he sunk. So, what is that? That's lack of faith and more trust in fear. What did Jesus, O ye of little faith? Faith is believing for the positive outcome of what you can't prove, but you can mentally see. The evidence of things hoped for, the substance of things not yet seen. Okay? So, he was doing it right at first. Instead of figuring out why he could walk on water, he kept his eyes where he was going, to Jesus. It didn't matter. Okay? So when you're an entrepreneur, you have to think along those same kind of lines to experience that success. Not everybody's going to understand where you're going. Not everybody followed Christ, did they? But he always ran with the truth. And victory is always his end outcome, isn't it? So why would you want to be any different? Why would you expect life to be any different? So let's take a look. We notice there are 5 actions that take place in the law of sowing and reaping from Mark 1 through 20. So one action that we can look at that Jesus taught with the way he lived his life was the first thing you do is you ask to receive. Look at Mark chapter 7, verse 7. Asking you shall receive, seeking you'll find, knocking the door will be open, right? So you go to the coach, the head authority, God, in prayer. That's step 1. Ask. And then we're going to seek the Word. What is the Word? The book of truth. When we understand how to live the book of truth, we can practice what it says, and that is the knowledge. We understand the Word as the truth, but as we're reading the Word, we're looking at the circumstances taking place. We're paying attention to what we pray to God for, asking Him to show us His wisdom. And often what you're going to find is God's going to speak to you through His Word with a similar circumstance to what you're accomplishing. Kind of like if you're an entrepreneur trying to figure out what's this Jesus guy doing talking to me about business. Well, my mentor was John Maxwell. Should I say more? Okay? I want you to understand these are principles that will work in your life if you apply them. And it doesn't matter if you're short, skinny, fat, got 1 year experience, 50 years experience, or no experience. The principles practice produce the harvest. When you don't shortcut the principles, the harvest follows the actions every single time. It's just a matter of time. So I want you to understand that. So you're seeking the Word to understand the truth. You practice what it says to experience the knowledge behind it. You share that as you experience God's wisdom, because that's what you do, is live what it says, not just read what it says, but do what it says. As you practice what it says, you experience God's wisdom. And then when you're experiencing God's wisdom, God is glorified by your actions, which is step number 5. And when you look at John chapter 14, verses 12 through 14, Jesus explains very clearly that when we ask God to do anything that will glorify Him through the Son, then God will deliver that. So if your actions of life are in sequence with those patterns, what Christ prayed for is a given to His heirs, which is you and I. So you need to recognize that. Does it mean it's an easy path? No. What did Jesus start out by telling us at the beginning of this lesson? Difficult is the way, okay? So we take a look at these 5 practices here. How does that relate to our career field as an affiliate, network, or internet marketer? It's pretty simple. We have to develop the habit of planting the seed before we get the plant that produces the harvest. You can't have a harvest without a plant. You can't have a plant without a seed. So you first have to develop the skill set, whether you're advertising using the power of the internet, pay-per-click advertising, social, solo ads, or whether you're purchasing traffic, clicks to your website, okay? Whatever you're doing to plant that seed, you got to ask yourself, how effectively are you planting the seed? Because the ones that have the most success are the ones that are able to duplicate quickly. How do they do that? They understand how to listen for the problem. It's not about the product. It's not about the company. It's not about the comp plan. It's not about the owner, and it's definitely not about you. It's all about them. What is the problem? Oh my gosh, I'm glad you shared that information with me. There are people seeing solutions to that very problem on a global scale. I'm not the communications expert, but I'm an online guide and I get paid to point the way. And I think you're going to be excited how this process works. Would you like to get paid next week? Well, yeah. Well, I'm not going to ask you to break any of God's laws, but I want you to see a solution to the problem you just shared with me. Would A or B time be best for you to see that solution? And they want to see the solution. So what are you doing? You are taking step 2 to get your plant. You have to schedule that solution. And then what do you do when that solution's there? You're letting the information do the explaining, not you. And then you get out of the way and introduce the coach or the call center. And the coach or the call center does what? That's magic. Go back to step 1. We're going to plant the seed. We're going to understand clearly what that problem is. We're going to identify what would your life look like if that problem got solved. What would that mean to you? How would that affect the way you lived your daily life? Would you be willing to schedule an hour a week to make that problem become solved over, say, 1 work quarter if we had some proven actions that could make that a reality? Now, do you see what I'm saying? It's all about them. What is their problem? When do they want to see the solution to it? And as they see the solution, they recognize that you clearly listened to them. You understood exactly what their need was. You put them in front of the information that solved the problem that they've recognized. Now they see a clear path from where they're at, point A, to where they want to be, point B. And it has nothing to do with being the closer. It has everything to do with serving over selling. And when you understand this is the law of communication taught by Jesus Christ, I'm just a messenger delivering it. You can recognize that if you develop those daily patterns, they'll never fail you. Okay? Recognize what those patterns are. 1 to 5 times a day per day with no excuses. There has to be a seed planted. Is posting a link on somebody's social network considered planting a seed? Absolutely not. Where did you listen? How did you discover the problem? So this means that our link is always a last resort. We identify the problem first, schedule the solution, then present the link. And now the purchase is made because it's a natural want to take the next step forward to get where they want to go in the first place. What's your competition doing? Oh, you got to see XYZ company. It's brand new. We're going to go straight to the moon. The owner was $1 billion earner in the past. We got the magic gurus. We got the magic system. Everything's coming together. All you got to do is come and join us now. Don't miss your seat. What does that do for your prospect? Where is their problem being addressed? Where are they even being considered? Do the opposite of what everybody's doing, and you'll experience the few results that everyone else does. But it's difficult to learn to talk to people. Of course, it's difficult if you don't know how to tie your shoes. But you tie your shoes, and the first day, you're not as fast as it as you are the 100th day. But because you did it every day, because it needed to be done, regardless of whether or not you were in the mood, you don't even think about tying your shoes today. Are you willing to understand what it takes to locate the people that have the problems that your business opportunity has the solution for? Listen to the problem, schedule the solution, and help them take action to the direction they want to go in the first place. And when you've mastered that habit, that will pay you more than knowing all the ins and outs of your back office. That will pay you more than being the grand poobah member in any educational company. Why? Because what good does it do to have all the capture pages in the world, all the sales pages, blog posts, websites in the world, all the greatest information in the world, if it's not applied? Think about that. You have all that stuff, yes. You need all that stuff to be an entrepreneur, correct. But the bottom line, the reason you have all that stuff is so you can have a seed planted 1 to 5 times per day, 5 days a week, every single week, with no excuses. And if you want the odds in your favor the most, if Jesus planted 5 seeds a day, why not you? So I hope you recognize that if you want to enjoy a harvest, you first have to plant the seed. The plant has to sprout through the dirt, endure the storms of life, and become the tree that produces the fruit. This is a process, never a single event. But it is a proven process. Yes, it's difficult. But with daily practice becomes simple. Are you ready to embrace the daily practice it takes to create the success that you deserve? We highly encourage you to practice it daily with no excuses. And when you find that you've practiced it for 1 year, 52 weeks in a row, with no excuses, 1 to 5 times a day, you planted a seed, scheduled a solution, you'll find there was a lot of harvest in the process. May God bless you beyond your imagination this year. Congratulations for taking some time to see some things that work at our learning hub, Project Healthy Wealth. It really is a blessing to be the founder of Project Healthy Wealth, also known as projecthealthywealth.org. We also have a blog post, projecthealthywealth.net. So it's all about helping you to be comfortable to take the next step to lead the way with truth. Jesus always said the truth will set you free. We've kept this simple training under 20 minutes so you could show somebody the fundamentals to sowing and reaping as an entrepreneur that's been proven over time and again. When do you got 20 minutes to see the real fundamentals to success? Enjoy the process. If you haven't joined us yet, come join us. You deserve success. It's there for those that are willing to work for it. May God bless you beyond your imagination this year.